Recording is on.
Recording is on, it says.
Okay, yeah, I
All
got
right,
that.
so we were just talking about how sites like Facebook, they do these updates and then they don't really tell you, in advance a lot of the time. And then what did you say? You were like,
Well, yeah, they will they'll do updates or try to improve things, and it's rarely ever improved.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like the yeah, certain apps like the Scrabble game I used to play, they did an update, and after that particular update, I was never able to play it again. So I stopped.
Oh yeah.
Haven't played it in like, I don't know, 8, 10, 15 years, whatever.
Oh, you know what? I've got a really good story involving Hotmail when they changed to Outlook.
Oh,
They
okay.
they froze me out of my account and they wanted me to put a bunch of the backup security information in there, right?
Yeah.
And I did that. I gave them like three different things, like the title of an email, who it was from, and like I did that with like three different people. I gave them that information, but they still locked me out of my account, and I actually lost a book that I was working on.
Oh,
Like I was
geez.
working on a book about true crime, murders that
Yeah.
were supposedly inspired by books, movies, and TV shows. So
Okay.
I lost that because I was emailing the book to myself, basically.
Right, right.
Hotmail screwed me over big time.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can.
And the whole point of that was you would think so my account would be secure. But how is it secure if I can't get into it and use it anymore? You
Well,
know what I mean? That's
that's a
like
little too
destroying.
secure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And well, anyway, this is my brother Ryan,
Hi,
and
hi.
yeah, you're podcast host now, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Ripping off my idea, you bastard. Just kidding. No, no. Like I said, everybody and their dog has a podcast nowadays. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because Clayton, my friend Clayton, and I was thinking, oh, Clayton and I should do a podcast. And then, like, after I had that thought, and then a few days later I got a text message from Clayton saying, hey, we should do a podcast.
yeah,
And so yeah, that was like in 2018 or something like that. And we recorded a few episodes, but it just, I don't know, it didn't seem right, or the recording was a little bit off. So then, and then it, between his schedule and my schedule, we just never could do it. So then well, he started his podcast, and I was like, well, yeah, that I listened to his, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. I need to do that. But it still took me a long time to do, and
yeah.
even I recorded an episode with I did record my first episode with Clayton, but I think I recorded it in like May of last year, and I didn't release it until, I don't know, like September or something like that, because
Yeah.
it took that long to figure out the, I don't know, everything that
Oh
where
yeah.
how I was gonna do it, release it, and everything.
It can definitely like take a little bit of motivation or something like that. Like I don't know why I didn't, you know, start my own podcast sooner because you don't really need skills to do it. Dumbasses like Joe Rogan do it all the time. And look at him. Not like I'm ever going to be as successful as him because I'm not a bodybuilder. But,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, I mean, yeah, he is known from like being on the Man Show, and I mean, he was
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
stand-up comic. Yeah.
So, anyway, we're kind of here to talk about horror movies and stuff like that. But you're also like, would it be condescending to say you're an aspiring comedian, or would you say you've established yourself? Like,
Oh God, no. Yeah, aspire. I would say amateur. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I was oddly enough asked to host a show in Iron Mountain this coming weekend on the day after St.
In
Patrick's Day
Michigan, just
in
to
Michigan.
clarify.
Yeah, yeah, not in New York or anything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, and it's weird. I don't know why no one, if everyone's scared to host in that area, or I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like an hour and a half away, but
Yeah.
I guess one of the other comics who goes to the open mic next, just down the street from where I live, recommended me. They must not have been able to do it because I'm sure they would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been doing open mics. I've done it a number of times, and I've gotten some positive feedback. So
Yeah.
and some silence, of course, like every comic does. And that's again, that's from lack of preparation, and it's the same thing with it's a whole motivation, just like starting.
I've had mixed responses to what I do too. Like, somebody wrote a blog article claiming that I hate the Child's Play series once, but I kind of got revenge because I did an interview with Joe Loduca, the composer for the Evil Dead series, and also for the Child's Play series.
Yeah,
and I actually brought that up to him, and he was. It was kind of neat because I kind of put that rumor to rest, that I'm a hater of Chucky or something like that.
Oh yeah, I would never have thought that. Yeah.
Well, it was because I gave some pointers on like what I think could improve the series, and then some idiots ran with it and said, "Oh, you're saying Child's Play is stale or something like that."
Oh.
And, yeah.
Well, even if you were, that would be your opinion.
Exactly. Like, who cares?
And it wouldn't. It's not. I'm sure you weren't talking about the whole series.
Oh yeah.
Like.
Well, also some people are being real whiny about it, like whiny bitches, like, how dare you say something like, in my like, I actually wrote an article about that. I was like, well, now that makes me want to criticize it more than I did before. Just to rile people up.
So they were kind of like me when I was a kid, and I read the Mad magazine that made fun of Ghostbusters 2, and I wrote Mad Magazine an angry letter because they were making fun of one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's funny you should mention that, because I remember when I first started like having hostile thoughts toward things, as far as like being a critic or anything, it was during the Ninja Turtles 3 movie. I remember walking out of that.
Oh, okay.
In the theater. I was like, oh man, I can't stand this movie. And there's something really profound about that, because, I was a Ninja Turtle lover. I was like all about TMNT.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually like kind of a betrayal that made me walk out of the theater. I mean, there's something profound about it, like.
Yeah.
Like they stabbed me in the back or something like that,
Yeah.
Because I was just a little kid at the time, but that's how I found out that I actually have some standards of some kind. So here's an interesting fact. It's actually, I believe, the 20th anniversary of Willard tomorrow. So have you seen that movie with Crispin Glover?
Yeah. Actually, my son George and I watched the original this past fall, and we both liked that. But yeah, I do have it on VHS, but I haven't watched it in a while. But I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
It was a good remake.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Arlie Ermy was actually pretty decent in that role.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I think I think he was good at playing jerks for obvious reasons because I think he was a bit of a jerk. But it's kind of weird when you're typecast into playing bad guy characters or whatever, or hostile
Yeah,
jerk
yeah.
characters.
I want to say I've heard people talk about him that he was a nice guy actually,
Yeah,
like in person. But I don't know where I've heard that. But I mean, people are, I don't know,
people are
like that.
complex. You can be a decent person in some ways and not so decent in others.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, people say Adolf Hitler was charming, was a very charming, like host, like when people go to parties at his
Oh yeah,
house or whatever,
but a
wherever he lives.
madman otherwise, obviously.
Of course, yeah. Right, yeah. I'm not.
Hopefully, nobody
I don't
takes
want people
that
writing.
snippet out of context and says
Right, yeah, yeah.
Wade's
Hitler was
brother is
very
pro
charming.
Hitler or something like that. Yeah,
No, I'm very anti-Hitler.
yeah. So am I.
Not a fan.
I don't even like him just a little bit. Not even a
No,
little
no,
bit.
right, yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit of
I
Hitler
would
goes a long way. I'll just put it that way. Not a big fan of Hitler.
if he had invited me.
I don't even
Maybe.
like his earlier stuff. You know.
Yeah, I might have went to his party, but I wouldn't have stayed the whole
Oh
time.
my god.
Kidding. No, 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 no.
No, I think
No.
I think when it comes down to it, like there's a duality that exists in most people, and I think like to take it back to Willard, I think that movie kind of deals with that, right? Because Willard, on the one hand, is sort of a meek character, but
Yeah.
he's capable of having these revenge fantasies, and what do you know? He has a way of actually acting them out by
Right.
commanding
Yeah.
this fleet of rats, which is it's a cool idea. I don't know if I've seen the original movie actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was good. Um, it's a weird thing because I saw the remake first. So,
Yeah,
and as always, I think when whatever you see first is the one that you tend to favor.
yeah, that
Um,
seems to be the case.
yeah, yeah.
In fact, there's an extreme example that I've actually seen some people say that they actually prefer the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 movie over the original because they saw that first,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
which is
Well,
kind of
yeah.
wild, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that movie is you could say is kind of catered towards modern like teens or
Yeah,
moviegoers or viewers. So yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's some people who have seen that one and still haven't even seen the original.
yeah. I think,
But
oddly enough, I think there are some decent ideas in that movie, but I think the CGI is kind of bad in some scenes that really takes me out of the movie, and also I just think the it's a little bit too serious actually.
yeah, yeah,
Which is odd because it almost makes it humorous in a way because it takes itself overly serious. So it's like
yeah,
an intent
yeah.
or unintentionally funny movie to me. And I don't know if people really watch it for that reason, but I think that in the future some people will probably watch it because it's overly serious. I think
Right, yeah.
it's a little bit riff tracks worthy actually for that reason.
Yeah, that actually that's a good point. It definitely uh has yeah, some of the dialogue and just I thought I liked Jackie Earl Haley's performance in there. I thought he did a good job as Freddy, but yeah, the makeup, I think it wasn't exactly the best choice to accurately depict like a
Yeah.
burn victim. I think it was better. with
Well,
the original Freddy.
he looked a little bit like a cat or some shit, like a cat. Or I also saw comparisons between him and the Ninja Turtles from the Michael Bay uh, remakes, and I could actually like when I saw that comparison, I definitely understood why people made that.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Huh.
I'm wondering who is gonna like play Freddy Krueger in the newer movies.
I
Do
know
you have any ideas?
people are saying bring Robert Englund back, but like he's what,
Yeah,
74 or
he's
something like that.
that's why he's
I think he's
deciding to
done
bow
with
out of
that.
it because he's just kind of old at this point, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't know.
he's recommended Kevin Bacon, but I think you got the same problem with Kevin Bacon. He's old too, kind of, you know.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I
So
think it would be probably better having somebody in their 30s or something.
yeah. So do you have any ideas for? Because I've got two ideas for who could play him, and one is sort of an obvious one, and one is less obvious.
Hmm.
So I think I'm just going to go ahead
Yeah.
and say the guy who played Pennywise,
Oh,
Bill. What's his
Bill
last name?
Skarsgård.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. I couldn't even think of his name for some. I'm terrible with names,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I think Bill Skarsgård could possibly do it. And the other candidate for for me would be Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Because I know at first some people might be like, oh well, he's like a kind of a I don't know, like a he doesn't seem that threatening or something, but he did actually play a character who was capable of raging and like turning violent, and also he played the or one of the main villains in the Last House on the Left remake. So he
Oh,
was already
really?
in a Wes Craven produced movie, right? And
Huh.
interestingly enough, he played a character named Francis in that movie who's based on the original character whose name was Fred. And then the other villain in Last House on the Left is named Krug. So you've
Yeah.
already got him playing somebody based on somebody named Fred, in a Wes
Right.
Craven produced movie that has a name that ties together Freddy Krueger as so that's partly why I picked him as well.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
he's
that'd
got
be
range,
interesting.
he's got I think he could play some evil characters really.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting to watch. Yeah, I'm pretty easy going when as far as letting like whenever I hear like so and so is gonna play whatever, I very rarely are like, what? Like that's
Yeah.
terrible, or I just because people thought that about Michael Keaton when he was gonna play Batman, and
Yeah.
even like Heath Ledger as the Joker. People, I saw a lot of complaints about that before the movie came out because they just couldn't see it.
Well, also in
But
this case, look at Robert Englund himself. Like, if you ever see him in interviews, he seems nothing like Freddy Krueger.
oh
But
right,
he
yeah.
definitely does a transfer. Like, I think a lot of people who make that critique don't really understand acting
Mhm.
necessarily. Not to sound too condescending, but like they
Oh no,
forget
that's
that
true.
there's a transformative aspect.
You just see, yeah, that's kind of a thing that I think leads people to win awards is it's kind of silly because they will play a certain character that's at least mildly iconic, and then they play a completely different character, and people are like, "Oh my god, can you believe this person isn't like silly?" Or like
Yeah.
it's like, well, like Robin Williams or Jonah Hill. They started being cast in more dramatic roles, and I think part of their um not appeal, but what am I trying to say, like their recognition, I guess, is kind of based on their previous, sillier roles.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow. And it's like, maybe if they had just started in dramatic roles, maybe they
Well, I think
might not have gotten as much
from
admiration
what
or
I
praise.
remember, that was something that plagued Chris Farley. He kind of was getting sick of playing these jokester characters, these goofballs. I think he wanted to have more serious roles.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I've heard.
actually just listened to David Spade and Dana Carvey's podcast. They did recently they did a tribute to Chris Farley, and they talked about how he actually was a good actor, and like dramatic. Like he was on, I don't know what, I can't remember what it was. He was on some show, and he kind of played a little more serious role, and they said he was really good. I mean, they're his friends, so I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but
Yeah,
yeah, I could
I
see
would
that.
believe that he would have had abilities. We just never really got to see it, though, that
Right.
much.
And a lot of comedic actors end up playing really like disturbed characters and playing them really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, I want to state that I wasn't, when I was saying about like Robin Williams and how some of his praise might be because of his previous roles. That's not to take away. I mean, he did some amazing things in a lot of all his dramatic
Oh,
performances.
yeah. Yeah.
Even if a movie wasn't the greatest, yeah, he definitely gave it his all. And I really haven't seen that much of like Jonah Hill, but I mean those are just two examples.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like I forget his name. The guy in the movie Cat's Eye, the the episode with or the segment with Robert Hayes where he's on the is forced to walk around the ledge of the building.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The antagonist in that one, I forget his name. He's a like kind of a comedic actor, but he was really good in that
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
menacing, and like, I mean, it's funny and silly, but yeah, he played that role really well.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of, like, there's another actor who would really fit into this conversation, Leslie Nielsen. In
Oh yeah.
Creepshow, he does a really good job in that movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and yeah, his actually his career was kind of the opposite because he started out playing serious
That's
roles
true.
like
Yeah.
in Poseidon and um um oh, what's the one of his first big roles?
Oh, I'm.
Um the the day the no, wait, not the it's a well-known science plan. Oh, what's the name of that
I don't
movie?
know.
I just watched. Me and
I know
George
he's
just
in the Day
watched
of the
it.
Animals, which
Oh,
is kind
okay.
of a ridiculous movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely in some more dramatic things.
I gotta look it up.
I know. I know that a lot of fans of Leslie Nielsen would probably want to check out the Day of the Animals because it's a fun little movie, very riff tracks friendly. In fact, I think they
Yeah, I
they
think
do
they did.
they
I
have
think
riffed
that's
it.
where I watched it.
Yeah,
Actually.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah. Creep Show. He was good, and yeah. I mean, there's a lot of he was did a lot of like guest spots where he just played like kind of a heel character or just not like nowhere near like Frank Drebin.
Yeah, he was also in that Barbara Streisand movie called Nuts, which I think I've only seen parts of it, but I remember him playing a sleazeball kind of character or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that either, but I've heard of it, of course. And I think I've seen parts of it too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Forbidden Planet is the what I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the main character in that, which I never knew that he was in that until I watched it this past fall or whenever.
Yeah, I think it's obviously sad that he's gone, but like it seems to me that a lot of those like slapstick kind of comedies aren't really coming out these days in that style.
No, I think they're probably mostly released yeah, on well, not necessarily DVD, even just like
Yeah,
streaming, but they're not really
they don't seem to
marketed
be.
because they're low, like real low budget, and
Yeah,
just have to, and I'm sure they're not that. There's like one out of every 20 will be decent or something.
yeah. Well, there there was a movie called Not Another Movie that, that I saw, and I was like,
Oh,
okay, now
geez.
we're starting to get a little bit too meta, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those movies they can be funny for sure, but it's I don't know. It's you have to be in a certain mood, I think, to
Yeah,
watch, and it's a thing that you maybe have on in the background.
yeah, really. So, what do you, this is a different topic altogether, but what are your thoughts on Finlandia University closing?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that yeah, that's because when I mean, obviously it was Sumi College before it was Finlandia, but
Yeah,
when how they've been open for they've been a
I think like
college or
120 years.
university. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know much about it.
Yeah, I know that obviously I graduated from there, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of weird because both Heikkinen School and Finlandia have closed down, and I went to both of those places. So
Right.
I almost feel like I'm killing these schools off by going to them or something. And there's also been a number of workplaces that I went to that are now closed down. I know it's really just a coincidence, but sometimes, it's easy to think
Right.
like
Yeah.
I'm bad luck for these places or something.
Well, it's yeah, that sounds like a premise for a movie or
Yeah,
something.
it kind of does.
Well, I guess there kind of was one with a movie called The Cooler with William H. Macy where he has such bad luck that it's like contagious, and so these casino owners hire him to go if somebody's winning too much, he goes and like basically stands near them and then they start losing. It's that sounds so dumb saying it, but the movie was actually pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, you can have pretty decent movies with a dumb premise for sure, or TV
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Well, I mean, even
Right.
even Groundhog Day is kind of a dumb premise, yet it works. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, it's like this movie shouldn't be good, but it is
Yeah, yeah.
because they're literally watching a lot of the same stuff over and over again. But
Right.
he's trying to get his life correct or whatever, get in sync with the universe and be his best self or something like that.
Yeah,
It ends
yeah.
up being a decent premise, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
if you're
that's
just thinking
pretty
about it
easy.
in a basic way, it's like, why would I want to watch that?
Yeah, yeah. That's funny you mentioned that because I just watched a movie that's I'm sure was inspired by that. Well, the sequel actually, but have you seen Happy Death Day?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I just watched the sequel, Happy Death Day to You, last night actually,
yeah,
and that was pretty good too. Actually,
yeah. I'm,
George and
I'm
I
trying
both
to
liked
remember
it.
if I've seen the second one. I know I saw the first one, and there's a Netflix show with a similar time loop premise called Russian Doll.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that, but I don't. I
Yeah,
didn't know what it was about.
I didn't really get that much into it, but it's not like it's terrible or anything. It's just one of
Oh,
those
okay,
shows
yeah,
that's I could watch it, but I probably won't that much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I haven't really been watching that many movies lately for whatever reasons. It's kind of funny because theoretically it's part of my career and whatnot, but I haven't been watching a whole lot of movies and TV shows But I do
Right,
plan on
yeah.
watching Cocaine Bear tomorrow.
Coke can bear.
Holy
Well,
shit!
they used to put Coke in.
Well, that made me think of those polar bears that are, drinking Coca
Oh,
Cola
yeah.
in the
Right.
Jesus.
Coke. It is a Coke
Cocaine.
can bear.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I definitely wanna see that. I don't know if I'll go to the theater to see it or not, but I George and I went to see the new Scream movie, and we both liked it.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the last one, so that's why I haven't really seen this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, it would make sense to watch that one first. That
Yeah.
I really like that one, actually. That might be my second favorite out of,
Oh yeah.
after the original.
Well, what's interesting about Scream 2 is that what's her face from Roseanne, Laurie Metcalf is the main. Oops, I'm spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But
Yeah.
she's the main villain in that movie. That's
Right, right.
I was gonna do a list for pophorror.com about people that you might forget were actually horror villains, and she would definitely be on that list.
Yeah, I really liked her in that movie.
Yeah,
Even the first time I watched it, I thought, "Wow, she's really good." And I mean, I guess I must have known who she was. Probably didn't know her name, but
yeah,
I recognized her. And and again, that was kind of another example, like, oh, that's the woman from, yeah, that's Aunt Jackie from Roseanne,
yeah.
and here she's being like a totally different type of person.
Like what a surprise!
Right,
It's
yeah.
only what acting's about. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you can't really fault for somebody for being surprised by that because we definitely get used to certain actors and certain characters over
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like, I wonder how. I mean, we talked about Chris Farley, but I wonder how John Candy would have been as like a psycho killer or something. I think he could have been good.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy that he was, only, well, like, my age when he died.
Yeah,
43. Yeah, actually, it was just recently the anniversary of either his, I don't know if it was his death or his birthday, but,
yeah,
I saw his son posted, some, pictures of him
yeah,
or something like that, yeah.
yeah. I think the closest thing to him playing a villain was Uncle Buck when he was
With the drill.
kidnapping Bug, yeah, and
Yeah,
threatening him with
yeah.
an axe and stuff like that. And
I was
oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I was just thinking I wanna watch that Uncle Buck,
Yeah. Well,
'cause I haven't seen
there's a
it in a
theory
while.
that I didn't really come up with this. I saw this elsewhere, but there's a theory that Uncle Buck is actually a mob enforcer. Did we talk about this before? Like in the last time we
No,
chatted? I don't think so.
I don't think so,
I don't
no.
want to repeat myself too much, but it's an interesting premise because I mean, if you think about it, like the movie has all these different references to rats and cheese, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's got all these mafia tactics, you know, and obviously he's a big guy and everything. But as we learned from like Joe Pesci, you don't necessarily have to be all that tall or anything to be intimidating.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they don't really talk about, or they don't really, um, go into what he does for a living, I
No,
don't
they
think.
don't. Yeah,
He's
it's
kind
just
of just
and he
like,
has ties to gambling.
yeah,
Guess who
yeah.
else has ties to gambling? The mob. The mob. So yeah, that it really changes how you watch that movie if you keep that stuff in mind.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, anyway, do you have anything else to add? I don't know.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Probably, but, I can't I
We could
can't think.
presumably, you know, have another episode in the future and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully the people listening to this have been entertained. And if
Yeah,
not, well,
hopefully.
oh well, whatever. Life goes
We'll,
on.
we'll try
We,
better next time. Maybe
yeah,
we'll be more dramatic next time.
yeah. We'll we'll actually say more controversial stuff about Hitler next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, please don't think that yeah, Hitler, I'm glad he's dead. Very
Yeah.
glad.
If
Should have
if
died
Hitler was
sooner
right here
even,
right
I'd
now, I'd
say.
slap him across his fucking mustache.
Yeah,
Slap
yeah.
that thing right off his face,
It'd be
and then
funny if
I'd
it just
stuff it
peeled
down his
off and it
throat.
wasn't real.
What's that? Oh yeah, yeah.
He just
Well,
put it on.
oh wait, here's a final topic we could close on. I think that the Hitler mustache should now be considered the Charlie Chaplin mustache.
Yeah, Hitler really ruined that.
Yeah, he ruined it. Like
There
now,
probably would be people wearing it nowadays if he had never
exactly.
existed. Yeah.
Yeah, and another funny fact is that the swastika also predates Hitler, and
Oh yeah.
the Jainist religion still actually uses it even.
Jeez. Yeah. That's a mistake.
Yeah, but they still use it.
Wow.
Yeah. So on that awkward note, I guess we're gonna shut the episode down here, and
All right.
yeah. Oh yeah, I should also mention that Ryan is my ride when I'm going to jury duty every month for the
Oh
next
yeah.
year or so. So thanks for doing that. You're almost like
as
my cab driver.
as long as they don't cancel it, yeah.
Yeah, like they did this month for whatever
Right,
reason.
yeah.
But anyway, thanks for showing up for this episode, and
Yeah, yeah.
have a good day, and we'll do this again at some point in the future.
All right, cool.
Yep. All right.
All right. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.